So these passenger cars are going to be a little bit trickier to assemble than the reefer or box car would be, mainly because of the way these end pieces fit on here. There's really no easy way for me to clamp it and clamp it square. So what I'm actually going to try and do is I'm going to try this cement. It stays a little bit flexible, but it is strong. So I'm going to try a little bit of this cement. So what I'm going to do is follow the instructions, put a little layer on here, and let it dry. I don't want it on my finger. So I'm going to do the same thing here. On the surfaces where it's going to join, put a little bit on. Still not the best at applying this evenly. What I really want, I guess it attracts flies. It's funny, this stuff smells like, an itch cream or insect repellent. I don't remember which it was that we used when we go camping when I was a kid. So it's got the same smell to it. I don't know if it's an alcohol smell or just a chemical smell. But I was using it the other day, and it's got the same smell of an insecticide or a mosquito repellent we used to use, but yet I was surrounded by mosquitoes out here as I was trying to put this together. So, smells like an insect repellent. Does not work like an insect repellent. Probably attracts them. There are some paints. One time I was painting the hood of my car using some auto paint. It's a base coat, clear coat. And I had it all set up in the garage, and it was the dry part of the summer. Air was still, not too much dust or whatever. But as soon as I put the clear coat down, these gnats that I've never seen before in my life all came and landed on the wet paint. I'm told that's not uncommon, that some of the chemical smells will attract insects from far away distances to come and ruin your work. That's dry enough yet. Yeah, I think it's dry enough. So the idea is to glue this. See, this will hold the wood in the right place, hopefully. Oh, it doesn't seem to be sticking. Maybe I need to put a little bit more on. Oh, there we go. And if I hold this in place and then go and glue the top on, what I'll use is wood glue to glue the top on, but I'll be able to clamp it then because I'll have everything lined up. It doesn't specifically say what kind of glue to use in the instructions. And this is relatively, actually it's extremely porous wood. It's probably just pine. Really soft wood, poplar maybe. But I will spread that on. Let it soak in. Spread some more on. And glue it. Come on, a little bit more. Maybe somebody will comment and tell me the best way to apply this stuff. Like I said, I bought it before, this type of glue, and it comes in a little can with a little brush applicator, and I think that would be preferred to this tube. I do have some cheap paint brushes. I could put a little glob someplace and brush it on. But being the porous surface, it says it needs a lot. So I kind of want it to go on thick. So I'll let that dry, and oh yeah, that's working pretty well. And that'll work just fine. Again, like having it a little bit, the joint a little bit flexible is kind of to my advantage. So that way I can get things lined up with the roof. So my goal is to get the basic box done with the roof on. Then I'm going to round the corners over of the roof. Basically get the whole thing done, then put the sides on. So this one's going to require a little bit of, maybe I'll get some Durham's water putty or something. Or maybe just the shellac will fill in the grain of the end grain of the wood. But let's see, this will probably go now. It says to let it fully set up. And back in the days before super glue, this was one of the adhesives that was in the modeler's toolkit. I'm actually going to apply a little to the crack here. Maybe it'll soak in. And I tell you though, that I put that shellac on the reefer, and it really solidified the body. I was quite happy with the way that worked out. I just really want this to soak in. And this is about as porous as balsa wood. It's not balsa wood, but I don't know if you can see, but there's a corner chipped out of it, and it's all chipped off at the top. So it's going to require a little bit of work to get this smooth, but I'll be able to do it. I've worked with wood many times before. When I was in middle school, I took wood shop. When I was done with my project, I just took a piece of wood and sanded it and finished it, sanded it and finished it, sanded it and finished it, to see how glossy and smooth I could make it. Anyway, that needs to set up for a little bit before I glue the top on. The top I'm going to use wood glue because there's a little bit more of an area for me to glue to and to clamp with. Probably going to put a rubber band around it once I get it all together, but I need to let this firm up just a little bit before I glue that on. So the top part I'm going to glue on using the wood glue, the Gorilla wood glue. And I'm going to clamp, this is my plan, is I'm going to clamp the top down using these rubber bands, which broccoli rubber bands from tonight's dinner. They seem like they'll work just about perfect. So I'm going to put a generous amount of glue on this because it is very porous. I said it might as well be balsa wood, how porous it is. Very generous amount of glue. I want it to squish out even, because I want this to be solid. Very, very solid. I know a lot of people, when they're building cabinets and whatever, myself included, like to make sure to not put too much glue on something, because you don't want it to squish out, because if you're making a finished piece of wood furniture, you definitely don't want it to squish out and show through your finish. This is something different, because this is going to be, you know, this is going to represent a steel car, steel passenger car. And so I need it to look like steel. I don't care if the glue seeps out, because I can sand or wipe the excess off. I mean, I want it to fill the gaps. Every single little gap. Because the more that it fills, the less I have to mess with later with water putty or whatever. So I'm going to do that, and maybe do this too. Try and get some use out of these clamps that I bought. I think I mentioned in a previous video, I bought them for one specific purpose, but this part was a little too thick to reach in the area where I needed it to reach. Oh yeah, now it's... They're not really that great at clamps. This other one, maybe that one's not a very good one. Maybe I'm not doing it right. Harbor Freight. I don't know how much I gave for them. Probably not more than $1.50, $2. Who knows? I just want it to clamp tight, that's all. So I get that to clamp tight. Well, I wish I had something to clamp around that way too. Maybe I do. I got C-clamps, but I don't think any of them go that far. Got a big bar clamp. I think it's just too wide. So I'm going to leave it. Well, I don't know what else to do. Find another big rubber band, I could stretch that around it. Or just leave it the way that it is. It's going to be plenty strong. Long and short of it is, it doesn't need to be holding up weights. It just needs to be strong enough to where it's not going to come apart. So, I just had another rubber band. I got the bungee cord. It's too big. Well, I do have this other C-clamp. What did I do with that? I used to have a couple of these. I don't know what happened to them all. They're really handy for this type of model building. C-clamps are the best. Never have too many of them. They're the strongest clamps. You can use them for woodworking. You can use them for welding. I mean, these little trigger ones are handy too, but you can't quite get the same amount of pressure as a screw C-clamp. So there we go. Make sure it's all lined up the best that I can on both ends. And let it set up. Have to clean it up a little bit. But I'll let that set up. The next step will probably be, well, I might actually go and put the center sill down the bottom, and then before I round off the ends, but just to make it a little bit more solid. And the reason I'm not rounding off the ends yet is because not only do I need to round off the ends, but I need to kind of follow this taper, this taper to the end piece. So I kind of need it to be glued in place to know where I want to file and sand. So I just use the sandpaper that came in the kit to sand that, but man, that would take forever. As straight as possible. Straighter it is, the less cleanup I have to do in the end. There we go. Something makes me think I don't have this completely parallel, which there's not much I can do about it, but it may be an optical illusion too, and once I get it all done, I won't even notice it. I don't even know if I notice it now, but in any event, I will let that set up, and then move on to the next steps probably tomorrow sometime.